We know Ron is off today. Whitney Kimmerling? Present. And Mike Loico? Present. And Sean Parker? Present. Okay, super. The only other thing I wanted to mention before we get started and pass this over to Metro is we just had a visit from one of the gentlemen that works in the IT department. And if you may remember, we had a problem with recording the last full session we had. He pointed out to me that if you want to speak, you're to press your red button once, quite deliberately. And when you're done speaking, press it again, quite deliberately. It's the double tap that'll get you, apparently. So we need to be careful not to do that because it freezes the whole system. And if you do that, let me know, and I have a way to reset. Okay? Great. All right. David? I don't have a mic.
Okay. All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the public, and welcome. This is our regularly scheduled meeting of the Metropolitan Short-Term Rental Appeals Board, taking place at the Sonny West Conference Center at the Howard Office Building, 700 2nd Avenue South here in Nashville. Today is August 25th, 2021. My name is David Freybutt, and I will be presenting the case to the board for their review in today's public hearing. For these public hearings, the board reviews the correspondence submitted in support of and opposition to these cases. The board also reviews correspondence and recommendations from other government agencies in preparation for the hearings. In today's hearings, staff will present the documents that comprise the case record. In each of the cases today, staff will make presentation with regard to the facts of the case, then the appellant will present his or her case to the board. After appellant's presentation, if anyone is here wishing to speak in support of the appeal, they may do so. If any opposition is present, the board will then hear from those parties. After the opposition presents its testimony, the appellant will have a period for rebuttal. According to board rules, the appellant has 5 minutes for presentation if no opposition is present. In contested cases, the board rules allow 10 minutes for each side to present testimony. Should the appellant wish to provide rebuttal testimony, the appellant should reserve some of that portion of the allotted 10 minutes, and the public hearing will then be closed and the board will deliberate and then vote in that case. All section numbers referenced come from the Metro Code of Law, which applies to the entire jurisdiction of the metropolitan government. Board rules require a recording of these proceedings. Because these meetings are recorded for Metro Nashville Network, it is imperative that anyone addressing the board come forward to the podium and speak into the microphone. All speakers should identify themselves by name and address and then make their desired presentation. Please note, push the button at the base of the microphone. A red light will illuminate indicating the microphone is live and you will be heard. Board rules require 4 members of our 7-member board to establish quorum. The code also requires at least 4 affirmative votes to grant an appeal. In the event that 5 or more members are present, but the appeal fails to receive 4 affirmative votes, that case will remain on the board's agenda for the next 30 days. Applications that fail to receive 4 affirmative votes within 30 days of the public hearing shall be deemed denied by the operation of law. Pursuant to board rules, the aggrieved party may appeal board decisions to Chancery or Circuit Court within 60 days of the entry of an order. Additionally, an aggrieved party may file a motion for rehearing by the board within 60 days of the original hearing date. After that time elapses, the board's decision becomes final and no further action can be taken. It should also be noted that if false or misleading testimony is presented to the board, any board approval can be revoked at a later date by means of show cause hearing before the board. Chair Caputo, I submit that all the cases have been filed in proper order, all appellants have been notified by certified mail, and all legal notice requirements have been fulfilled. Are there any elected officials in attendance who would like to address the board? There are not. Absent any other announces, we are ready to proceed with the cases to be heard. The first case is case STR 2021-013, Jeffrey Eckinger. If you're present, please come to the table. We will hear from staff first, and then after Mr. McBroom's presentation, we will hear from the appellant. Is there anyone here to support his case? None. Is there anybody in opposition of this case? None as well. Mr. McBroom.
Good afternoon, Board. This is case 2021-013. This is on October 12th of 2018, an owner-occupied STRP permit was issued. 2 website advertisements were posted for the STRP, one on October the 15th of 2018, Airbnb, and one on VRBO, which was July the 5th of 2020. September the 19th of 2019, the permit was renewed. October the 12th of 2020, the permit expired. January of 2021, there were 2 documented stays. February of 2021, 2 documented stays. March of 2021, 2 documented stays. April of 2021, 3 documented stays. On May 14th of 2021, a notice of violation was sent by Administrative Services Officer Campbell Padgett from the Codes Department for advertising and operating with an expired permit. On May 19th of 2021, the permit renewal documentation was received by Codes Administration 219 days after the permit expired and 189 days after the 30-day grace period had ended. May 28th of 2021, the STR Board Appeal was filed. On June the 2nd of 2021, the website ads were removed. On June the 4th of 2021, the letter of expiration was sent by Zoning Administrator Joel Hargis. There were 9 documented stays after the permit expired. There were no documented stays after the notice of violation was sent. And there were no documented complaints for the property in either the Metro Hub or Host Compliance Hotline.
Okay, is that it?
Yes, ma'am.
Super, okay. So are you Mr. Eckinger?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you so much for joining us today. Could you state your name and your address for the record and then tell us about your situation? Why don't you just pass it to me and we'll pass it out. Thank you. I went to Alex too.
So my name is Jeff Eckinger. I live at 1028 11th Avenue North in Nashville, zip code 37208. And first off, thank you all for taking the time this afternoon to hear me out on this. As stated by Metro, in September I received my renewal notification from the city, and in late September I mailed in my check, notarized affidavit, and renewal documentation for renewal of my permit. If you see in the first affidavit, the first exhibit is a signed affidavit to that effect from Sharon Ramos. Subsequent to that, I unfortunately did not follow up on that. To my knowledge, that had been sent in and renewed. Unfortunately, I appreciate the reality that the onus is on me to follow up and ensure that did in fact get renewed, and I did not, and I absolutely take responsibility for that, and that is my mistake. When Metro notified me on May 14th of my violation, I was quite confused and floored for 2 main reasons. One being the ancillary income that I generate off my home is meaningful to me, and given we were getting to a point where folks were just getting back to visiting Nashville following the effects of COVID. Number two, I've always endeavored to abide by the permitting and regulation codes of the city, as well as be a good neighbor to the folks around me. And I would point to the second exhibit that I provided that shows signed support from a number of my direct neighbors that are directly adjacent to my property that I've always had a positive relationship with, both when I'm there and when guests are present. From that point, I've done everything in my ability to act in good faith and ensure that I work both with Metro as well as Airbnb and VRBO, the marketing channels that I was using at the time, to get all subsequent stays canceled and file the appropriate documentation to get to where we are today. I will continue to work with Metro on whatever this board deems appropriate to ensure that I do not have any violations here going forward.
Okay, thanks.
Should I turn this?
I ask members of the panel if anyone wants to inquire? And I'm sorry, I think we're pronouncing your name wrong. Eckinger?
That's how 98% of the population. It's Eckinger, but
Eckinger.
I won't hold
Pardon me,
anybody to
Mr.
it.
Eckinger, we're going to get it right. And I think Councilman Parker has a question for you.
Thank you for being here. I was reviewing the neighboring letters of support, which is always a good thing to have. But there was also in our packet one letter in opposition from Gina Yao, I believe. Do you have any understanding of why that neighbor is opposed to the request?
I also saw that, and unfortunately, I do not. I wish I had a better understanding of that.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions? I do have a question, if you don't mind me asking. There's a letter in here, or even if you do mind me asking, but there's a letter in here from Codes returning the check. It appears to me, according to your affidavit from your friend, that you're telling us that you sent a check and a renewal in a timely fashion, and you failed to follow up on it, and apparently you're telling us that the city failed to, or Metro failed to, receive the permit renewal, cash the check, and issue you a new permit, yes?
I'm not claiming that Metro failed in that. That could have been a USPS issue,
yes,
but
okay.
but that, yeah.
We'll use the passive voice. It did not arrive, or it got lost in some fashion. So when you received a letter telling you were in violation, you simply filled out a new permit request and sent in a check?
Yes, that was due to my ignorance in when I responded. My initial the notice that I received from Ms. Paget was that you're in violation. You need to work with Codes to alleviate this. I responded same day, and I think it's in the packet. I responded same day saying, I don't understand. I didn't receive a response, and I understand why I didn't receive a response for several days. I understand every organization is very backed up right now. In the time that I was waiting on a response, I, in my ignorance, didn't know what to do, so I immediately sent in a renewal request, thinking that, well, I want to at least be doing something, but I understand why that was not processed, and that was just ignorance on my part.
Okay. I see what you're talking about. You have amongst your emails here, oh, my apologies, I just reread the email. I was certain I renewed my permit, but I will take appropriate steps to get it renewed. It just seems slightly odd that it was like, oh, I thought I had, as opposed to, I had, let me call my bank and get the check. And then, oh gosh, the check was never cashed. You know what I mean? It just looks the response is a little mundane for someone who now has like a 4-page affidavit from someone swearing on their life and limb that you went out and mailed this thing.
I don't have a clear explanation other than I was trying to respond very quickly, and trying not to be accusatory, just simply saying I was certain I sent it. And upon further reflection, I'm very confident that I sent it, but I understand that it didn't get processed, so that doesn't hold a whole lot of water here.
Does anybody else have any follow-up questions?
Do you have a copy of your permit printed and placed in the house anywhere?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm blinking over here.
Okay, that does seem to be back on, right? And you're not blinking? Okay. Okay, if no one else has any questions, then we close the public hearing and have discussion amongst the board members. Does that sound correct? Okay, very good. Thank you so much for your information. What do my learned colleagues think?
I appreciate that. Mr. Eckinger, sorry, has a lot of backup information. I appreciate very much that members of the community have signed on to documentation to support him. But I think it goes back to my first question. If there is, my question was that, you know, if he does have a short-term rental permit posted somewhere in the house, it does show the date of when this expired. And if the check didn't indeed clear, at some point, if you're seeing that over and over again, there's a date that says 2020 on it. But with that said, I think that there's a sense of understanding that we have to, as a board, put in place because he's gone through the effort of engaging his neighbors. And that's a huge value for me.
I have a question for staff. So in this case, if no appeal had been filed, when would y'all have administratively found that he was eligible to apply for a permit? What date would he be eligible absent this appeal?
Typically, it's 1 year from the last date of stay, which, once again, in our records, we only see the last month. So we tend to go to the end of the month and take it to 1 year later. In this case, it would be, let's see, the websites were removed June 2nd. Last documented stays were what, in April?
Yes.
End of April then, so it would be May 1st of 2022. And I would also like to note, Mr. Eckinger was on the docket last month where we were not able to have a meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
I was going to make that same point that you look familiar to me. I think we sat in the room and waited on a quorum. We weren't able to pull it off. So really, this conversation should have been had a month ago. So if nothing else, at least that grace should be given for that 1 month period. That was absolutely no fault of this gentleman's.
Sure, yeah, and I mean, I agree with all that, and thank you, staff, for clarifying what the administrative decision would have been. That gives us, I think, a good framework for any time that we are going to consider a reduction, kind of knowing, absent the appeal, what the date would have been. I'll listen to other board members' comments, but I am encouraged by the level of neighboring support that the appellant has brought. I think that's usually an indicator that it's a responsibly operated Airbnb when you have that much neighbor support. So that's a plus for me, but I'll listen to other discussion.
It's maybe a little too deliberate. I agree. I think neighboring support carries weight for me. But I also agree with the fact that there is a permit posted that says 2020, and you've got numerous stays that occurred after the fact, with probably repeated viewing of a 2020 permit, thinking, I would have thought, I haven't gotten that by now. Maybe a little bit sooner than this gentleman did. So I think maybe there is some mitigation for the support. I'd like to know more about the opposition, but I think if the opposition was valid opposition, there would have been more elaboration as well.
Well, to that end, if there was, you could say the same of the support. This is a note that is quite obviously pre-printed, prearranged by the appellant and shared with the neighbors. So, I mean, it's not like they came storming in asking that, he be given leave to apply earlier. This was, this was engineered.
Very
So-
valid point. So in my mind, we've got 2, 4, 6, we've got 9 stays after permit expiration. Then we had the website ads removed 2 weeks after the violation letter was sent. What do y'all think about timeframe?
I would actually like to point out, more so than the letters from the neighbors, or the signatures from the neighbors, I'm actually quite impressed with the efforts made with Airbnb to cancel upcoming stays, because we've heard that this is an important income stream, and in an effort to comply leading up to these hearings, obviously you can see there's communication with Airbnb customer service to cancel stays that would have been money in this gentleman's pocket. So I think that's, to me, more moving than signatures that were put on a pre-printed letter. So I'm of the mindset that some relief be given. My first reaction was 8 months rather than 12, but I think 7 is much more fair when you consider that we were unable to hear this case a month ago when we had planned to, and that the case was turned around from the appellant in a rather rapid, at a rapid rate after all of the information came to light for him.
Are you proposing 7 months from April or May?
Yes.
Okay.
7 months from the
From April 14th?
last day that we know of, which would be April.
Okay.
Roughly January.
That's November.
June, July.
That's November. Yep. I can't add, so I should not.
Sean's on the Greek
I
calendar.
shouldn't be correcting anyone's mathematics.
So April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. That would be November 1st.
Or if we want to get a full 7 months, it'd be December 1st,
Yes.
which I'm much more comfortable with.
You're more comfortable with December 1st?
Yep, I am.
What does everyone think? Do you want to make a motion to that effect?
So moved.
I second. Okay. Let's see a raise of hand, show of hands, who would like to vote for this, this motion to offer 7 months, which would mean December 1st, yes, as the date of permit accessibility.
Do we need to include the language that staff or the zoning administrator did not air?
No.
Okay.
We've worked-
I think we've been.
we worked that out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Duty.
Okay, show of hands, aye.
Aye.
Oh, unanimous, okay. So the ayes have it. Mr. Eckinger, That means that December 1, you are eligible to reapply, as opposed to April of next year.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day. Okay, so the next case was withdrawn. So the case we're going to hear now is that of appellant Austin Moody. Is that correct?
That is correct. Case STR 2021-015, Austin Moody. Please step forward. At this point in time, we shall hear from Mr. McBroom.
On October the 8th of 2019, an owner-occupied STRP permit was issued. On October the 11th of 2019, one website advertisement was posted on Airbnb. On October the 8th of 2020, the permit expired. November 2020, 5 documented stays. December 2020, 1 documented stay. January 2021, 2 documented stays. March 2021, 6 documented stays. April 2021, 4 documented stays. May 2021, 6 documented stays. May 19th of 2021, notice of violation was sent by Property Standards Inspector John Feltz. On June the 2nd of 2021, the permit renewal documentation was received by the Codes Administration 237 days after the permit expired and 207 days after the 30-day grace period had ended. On June the 10th of 2021, the letter of expiration was sent by Zoning Administrator Joel Hargis. On June the 10th of 2021, the STR Board Appeal was filed, and on June of 2021, there were 3 additional documented stays. June the 15th, 2021, the advertisement calendar was changed to a 30-night minimum stay, and the violation case was closed. On July 20th of 2021, there were 3 documented stays. There were 30 documented stays after the permit expired. There were 6 documented stays after the notice of violation was sent. There were no documented complaints for the property in either the Metro Hub or the host compliance hotline.
Great. Thank you very much. Mr. Moody, I presume?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you could state your name and your address for us, and then tell us about your situation.
All right. There we go. So I offer no excuses for not renewing the permit within the 30-day time frame. But what I will say is 2020 was tough for a lot of people. I've been a musician for 12 years, ever since I moved to Nashville. I've never done anything else. And that second week of March of 2020, I lost 170 shows overnight. And so that whole year, and still now, I've been in survival mode. And the permit renewal was something that slipped through the cracks. Honestly, just didn't even think of it. Now, I didn't receive, or I was traveling a lot during the fall, so I legitimately didn't receive a notice of renewal. I didn't see one, but when I did receive the notice to remove my listing, I immediately sent in a notarized letter and the check, even though it was too late and it was returned. I gave that documentation to her. So basically what I'm asking of this committee is some understanding of a tough year. The extra income from this Airbnb is important to my family. I got married last year. We got a baby on the way now. And from my calculations, the canceled reservations, I canceled a little over $11,400 in income from where I received the notice to remove the listing through the rest of the year. And also what this did, we have 3 other Airbnbs in other states, Florida and Alabama, and we were superhost until I had to go and cancel all these reservations. So now that's another thing that's affected all of our Airbnb listings. So anyway, like I said, no excuses for not renewing the permit, and appreciate any understanding.
Because I got my hands on these first, and I will pass them around, what you shared with me seems to all be canceled by the guest.
That's because most of those I tried to talk into canceling themselves so it wouldn't affect the superhost status. So I explained the situation, explained what it was going to do to the other listings, and some of them were nice enough to do that, and a few wasn't, because it was an inconvenience to them.
Okay. So you can understand the position we're in. That's not documentation that you canceled those. That's documentation that they canceled those. So you can understand how it's you've brought us documentation, but it's difficult for us to, we'd have to see everything from your point of view, right? I'm just saying, it's tough for us to be in this position to say, oh, you know what, you're absolutely right. You went right ahead and canceled all those things, when you see here on this list that in fact, even after you got the notice of violation, there are how many stays? 6, June and July, because the notice of violation was sent on May 19th. So there were still 6 stays after the notice of violation. And the notice of violation would have said operating or even advertising when you don't have a permit is inappropriate and illegal, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then finally, you did share with us just now in your narrative, and maybe it was more information than you wanted to give us, that you're pretty experienced at this. You've got 3 other Airbnbs besides this one in other states. So you're not in the same boat as a lot of the operators we see here who are, operating one. It's just a little side hustle. And I mean, this is really an important business to you and your family, yeah? You've got 4 of these things.
Well, 3 of them are my wife's, which I put under my account, and those 3, they don't have permit laws. 2 of them have been listed in the last couple months because my wife has bought 2 houses in Panama City, and they're just run under my account. So.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions that they want to pose?
I kind of want a chance to look at these first before I...
Sure. I also want to just double check with staff, because I think we covered this a couple of meetings ago, but in 2020, didn't we determine that there were about 3,000 renewals that were successfully completed in 2020, despite the pandemic?
That's an approximate number, but fairly accurate, yes.
Yeah, I think it might have been a little north of there. So about 3,000 people in your same boat, pandemic, get it, we were all there, were able to successfully execute renewing their permit.
Okay. I don't know if they were in my same boat, but what you're saying, I'm sure is absolutely true.
That were Airbnb operators or were short-term rental operators and were due to renew and successfully renewed during what was admittedly a tough year for everyone. I'm sure fellow members of the board have questions? No?
Mr. Moody, do you have copies of the board packet? Or do you have a copy?
I have it pulled up on my phone. If you want me to look at it.
Yeah, actually, I would like for you to look at it with me. And let me know when you find the portion of it that says matched property listing and provides a copy of the Airbnb posting. Got it?
Thinking right now.
Oh, yeah. I had the same problem earlier today.
And you can access the Metro Wi-Fi too.
Yes.
That should help. This is a tough building for,
Okay.
That's the first page going here.
Okay, and I'm on page 2 of 3.
Right now it's showing the first page, and, oh, there's the second page.
Okay. So I'm looking at the right side of the page where a document stays and various other status changes. And on near the top, there's an X saying it's the first X in actually that series of items. It says listing air series number removed on January 23rd. Can you explain why that action was taken? Was that something that you did?
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, there is. So there's an X in that column of statuses on the right side of the page, on page 2 of 3, that says listing air 327-10910 removed. Do you see that?
It's on page 3.
It's on page 2 of 3.
in the portion, Mr. Moody, that's the matched property listing. So the front page of it would be some photos of your property and some of your photos.
Okay, now, here we go.
Got it?
Okay, great. Apologies.
What did you say you're looking at? The January?
I'm looking at where it says remove, there's a series of statuses that says remove, reposted, remove, reposted, remove, reposted, remove, reposted. Do you see all those?
Here, we're going to share a copy with you.
All right, that'd be
Yeah.
So once you get to the photos that appear to be from your listing, there you go, and go to page 2 of 3 of that series.
Okay, so on the right side,
honestly don't know what that means.
so these were not at your request, the
Miss-
removes and reposts?
I'm sorry, Mr. Moody, could you open your mic for us while you're
Sorry.
talking? Thank you.
Yeah, I'm unsure of what that is. Because I don't think I removed and put it back up, you know. I wouldn't have done that. So I'm unsure what that is.
Okay.
Okay.
It looks like it was happening week to week, so that's pretty close in time, or at least there was a period of time where it was happening pretty short intervals from one another. So that's an odd series of occurrences to have happen for unexplained reasons.
I honestly don't know what that is.
Okay. So I'm assuming there was some point where you didn't so you never asked Airbnb to take down the listing even after you got the notice of violation?
I didn't get the notice of violation until, what was it? Was it May that the final notice went out?
Okay.
Because that's the one I first saw. So I didn't get one prior to that. It may have been sent. I just didn't
Right.
see it.
And at that time, you didn't engage Airbnb and ask them to take the listing down?
Correct.
You did or did not?
No, I didn't.
You did, okay.
Call them for that.
Okay. So the advertisement is still up?
The advertisement is up for a 30-day minimum right now.
Gotcha.
That was, if you see, it was added, sorry, June 15th, it was changed to a 30-day.
Right.
About a month after the
Okay.
violation went.
So there was a change in status,
Yeah.
but not a request that it be removed.
Correct, and I did block out all the dates once I saw that, too, the available dates, because I wasn't sure as far as just removing the listing. I honestly had no idea what this thing was all about. With what I was going to have to do, I think I called David and asked him, and the 30-day minimum came up, and so I blocked out all the available dates, and then changed the listing to a 30-day minimum.
Okay.
You know.
I have a question for staff if you're finished.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. On that same page that we were just looking at for the matched property listing, in the column down the right-hand side, down at the bottom, it says, first warning, no tax, I presume registration, sent in November of 2019. What is that?
That is a notice that it's sent by host compliance, letting them know that there's no registered tax account for the short-term rental property.
Okay. I mean, is there any resolution of that? Does that have any consequence? I mean, explain that to me a little bit more.
That's actually handled through Metro Collections. Generally, when a person receives that information, they will contact Metro Collections because the letter includes that information and request that contact be made as soon as possible and any taxes and arrears be brought up current. So generally, if you don't see a letter of that nature sent a second time, they've corrected it, they've opened an account, and they've brought their tax account current.
Okay.
It's not prosecuted through the ordinance. It's simply taken care of through Metro Tax Collections.
Okay. Do you remember resolving that, Mr. Moody?
Yes, I sent that notice to my business manager, and she sent in the payment for what we were lacking from the stays.
So does your business manager what does she handle for you? Does she handle your permitting? She handles
my finances for my businesses. So I run all of my finances through her to send basically anything that has to do with money. So.
Okay. So in that event, did you not entrust, since this is a significant source of income for you, as you said, did you not entrust making sure that these streams of income remain open and flowing to her as well? Or did you take part of it on yourself and just leave certain parts to her?
I would calculate my taxes up. I would send those to her, and then she would cut a check
Okay.
and send it in.
Okay.
For a point of clarity, Mr. Moody, your business manager is for your music career and not for Airbnb, or for both?
It's for everything.
For everything. Okay.
It's for the business I started in 2020, which is a hydro excavation business. I'm no longer a singer right now. It's not how I make my money. So it's a totally different thing. She handles all of the finances because, to be honest, you don't want me handling them. I know how to work and sing. That's about it.
Thank you.
Try to leave the rest up to somebody that can be on top of it.
So it's fair to say that you guys have multiple streams of income.
We do now. My wife and I got married this year. I had one stream of income when I set up the Airbnb, a touring musician, an artist, and then that was a second stream of income when I got the Airbnb going. And then when the pandemic did hit, the Airbnb was something that was able to kind of pay for the expenses and give me a couple of months to figure out what to do next and start another business. And, so yes,
Okay.
I do have multiple streams now.
Okay.
Any additional questions for Mr. Moody? No? Okay, thank you so much for your time today, Mr. Moody. We greatly appreciate it. We're going to close the public hearing so that we can discuss amongst ourselves how to resolve this matter, okay?
Yeah, I mean, in a case like this, I'm going to have a very hard time supporting any reduction of the wait period. I'm not seeing any demonstrated neighborhood support from neighbors. I'm seeing very little effort to correct the violation on behalf of the appellant. As well, I'm seeing documented stays after not only the notice of violation was sent, but documented stays after the appeal was filed, which is always a little tough to sit with. Stays having occurred just a few weeks ago. I'm willing to listen to discussion from other board members, but I'm going to have a very difficult time supporting any reduction in this case.
Well, that's about where I am too.
I don't support any reduction in this case. I think that particularly the stays after the appeal was filed, 6 stays after an appeal is filed is inexcusable to me. The cancellations, even if we take it at Mr. Moody's word about they were canceled by the people who were staying there, several of them list reasons of, I decided not to go to the event, I'm canceling due to COVID, that sort of thing. I don't think all of those were canceled at his request without having further backstory on those. 30 stays in general is a high number to me post time that the permit expired. And even the advertisement wasn't changed to 30 days until after the appeal was filed. To me, there's no question in my mind. It's a full year.
I agree with my colleagues.
Well then, should we make a motion that there's no eligibility for a new permit until July of 2022 then?
Need a specific date in there, I think we...
July 1, I'm sorry.
I think if we make it July 1, that actually does offer a little bit of relief because we could make it the full month of July. And I understand this is not what you hope to hear, Mr. Moody, coming in here today, but I'm going to have to agree. Sorry, I shouldn't be addressing you directly during a closed public hearing, but I think I'm always, inclined to be, easy on folks whenever possible. But I think when you look at the letter that comes on June 10th and that this is the violation and it says all activity must cease, And then we can't just say, oh, I get it, you didn't really know what was happening. The letter says, you got to stop right this second, and that should have been where it stopped. So I'm going to have to agree with you folks, but let's make a motion to have the 1 year from the date of July 1st. We only know that, sorry?
I would just propose that we move that no relief be granted by this body and allow it to be handled administratively.
Okay.
So if it's handled administratively, will they honor the July 1 date since they don't have a date?
I believe they said it would be August 1st. I believe they would go with August 1st.
Can I double check that with staff? Would August be the date of the last infraction, and therefore August of 2022 would be the date that is permissible? If we say that we're not offering any relief? Or would it be July 1 or August 1?
So you say, exactly. Actually, right. Yes, actually, it would be August 1st of 2022.
I can live with that.
Okay, so everyone is in agreement? Okay, so I make a motion that we offer no relief?
Seconded.
Can I see a show of hands?
Aye.
Okay. The ayes have it. Mr. Moody, I apologize that you didn't have any relief granted to you today, but I think that Metro's done a great job of being clear in their expectations, and going forward, you're going to, I'm sure, do a better job reading everything that gets sent your way, and maybe turning some of this over to your business manager to handle.
All right, I appreciate it.
Thanks for your time.
Now, I want to say this.
I don't believe that the public hearing is open for further comments. Is that correct?
I was under the understanding that it was May of next year is when I spoke with someone in the administrative department when I said, when's the next time I can renew? And they said May.
Right. But in fact, they probably were not aware of all of the documents that are available to us. And the date of the last infraction is the date that the 12 months starts. So that would be, we have documented stays in July of this year, and that's when the clock starts. So I'm sorry if you feel you were misinformed, but unfortunately, it's going to be 12 months from the date of the last infraction, which was documented as just a couple of weeks ago. So I'm sorry that you're leaving without any relief today, but we wish you very well, and we appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.
Okay, one more case?
Yes, the third and final case today is STR 2021-17. Ms. Toddy, please approach. We will hear from Mr. McBroom.
On December the 18th of 2018, an owner-occupied STRP permit was issued. 2 documented advertisements were posted, one on December the 2nd of 2018, VRBO. Airbnb ad was posted on 12/26 of 2018. November the 14th of 2019, the permit was renewed. On December the 18th of 2020, the permit expired. In January of 2021, 1 documented stay. February of 21, 2 documented stays. March of 21, 5 documented stays. April of 21, 1 documented stay. May of 21, 3 documented stays. May 19th of 2021, notice of violation sent by Property Standards Inspector John Felds. June of 2021, there were 3 documented stays. July of 2021, the STR Board Appeal was filed. On August 11th, the VRBO ad was removed. On August 12th, the Airbnb ad was removed. There were 15 documented stays after the permit expired. There were 3 documented stays after the notice of violation was sent. There was 1 noise complaint on August the 1st of 2020 on the host compliance hotline. It was not substantiated by any type of a public official document such as a police report. There were no documented complaints on the Metro Hub.
Okay. So Elizabeth, Toti or Tati? Tati. Very good. If you could open your mic and share with us your name, your address for the record, and then tell us about your situation.
Sure. I'm Liz Toddy. I'm at 731 20th Avenue North in Nashville, 37208. So we host people at this home on weekends when I'm not working in the Nashville area. So we have a house in Mount Juliet, one in Nashville. I don't like to do the commute when I'm seeing patients in Davidson County. So we live and operate in Davidson County, and our Mount Juliet property is where else we stay. So that's why we always have two addresses. This is our second year in a row of doing short-term rentals at this property. I don't know if they just don't know the process, but you don't get a letter to say that you're coming up for renewal. That doesn't happen. You just have to do it. And then you don't get your notification of expired until several months after it's already expired. So it's not like, hey, you were supposed to be doing this 30 days ago. It needed to happen. Like ours, I think, came in May for a December, whatever. So anyways, when David and I were emailing back and forth, I told him, I said, well, I don't have a certified copy of anything that was delivered, but I always copy all of our documents that we send you. Here's my affidavit that's notarized from October of 2020 that we sent. Here's my canceled check, because I always make a copy of our check that we sent to you, dated for October. I don't even have this bank account anymore. We've closed all of our funds with SunTrust. We bank with Pinnacle. I can't even tell you if the check is cleared. Can you look it up? And maybe it just got put to the wrong home or whatever. And he emailed me back. He said, give me a couple days. Let me see what I can do. So he emailed me back. He said, I can find no payment with that check number and that amount, for anything. I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do. You have to go through the appeal process. So David's been great. He's super overworked, super overworked. But he'll tell you, his auto response right now is, please allow 7 to 10 days for me to even acknowledge the fact that I'm going to talk to you. He's just that, So I have no idea what happened. I can pull up, 100 periodicals saying that U.S. Postal Service was down to 72% success rate for delivering for all of fourth quarter last year. I couldn't tell you what happened. I 100% understand that it's my job to then follow up and make sure that all of these things happen. It didn't. I'll take 100% responsibility of that, but you don't get a notice saying that you're coming up for renewal. You just have to know that you're due for it. You just have to send it in, and then you get your new piece of paper. So, like I said, I don't know if some of these other people don't know how this works, but there is no hey, you need to pay this. Here's your pay stub. Take care of it. That doesn't happen. So I have the affidavits or the renewal application that is notarized from that time period. I have the check that is from that time period. I couldn't tell you what happened after that. To that, I'm at a loss. I know there's going to be questions about our stays after the fact. This is a primary source of income for us. This is how I pay that mortgage. So. Without having anybody say, oh, and we're going to go ahead and compensate you for anything that you had to cancel because we're finding in your favor, or this is our fault, or it just happened. I can't afford to do that. We took a $40,000 loss in real estate last year, in Nashville. I can't close my business for 5 months pending whatever. I know what I did. I have the documentation to say I did it in a timely fashion. I guess I'm asking for understanding. I sent it to him. I don't know if he prints off those stuff for you guys, or I have them with me today. But anyways, that's my story.
Okay. I'm exhausted now. So I'm not sure that I have this documentation. Do you
like it?
folks? I don't. Could you bring that copy to me?
It's front and back for the
Okay. Okay, so you've provided us a copy of a check that was written on October 30th of 2020, which would have been, it would have been applied to, November, what have you, renewal in advance of your December 18th permit expiration. But did I not just hear you say that you don't have access to this account anymore?
That's correct. I mean,
So how do you
I
have
can.
this?
Say it again?
So how do you have this?
Anytime I send any correspondence, I always make copies of everything that goes in the mail.
Okay,
That's why it's only the front side of a check. It's not a
okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And then this is the,
copy
This is-
of, yeah, it's just a copy of the affidavit that's notarized. And you guys got whoever got the original.
okay. I'm going to share this with my colleagues. Okay. So then, let me make sure I understand the sequence of events. You're telling us you sent this in, you never heard back from anyone, you just assumed everything was fine.
To be honest with you, I don't even remember getting a second, licensure or permit the first time I did it. I don't even remember that process. And it could absolutely be the way that it happens, but it's only happened once for me. So I didn't even remember the fact that I was supposed to get something back in the mail that says, here's your new whatever.
So what we have here is a copy of your permit,
Correct.
which is supposed to be posted I don't know if it's supposed to be posted in your property, but at least it's supposed to be posted
in our
with
book.
your ad.
Both. Well, you have to have the number in your ad, and then that is just in our binder or whatever for.
So are you telling me that you don't have this one that says it expires in 2020?
No, it expires in 2020. I
Yes,
do.
you
What
do.
I'm saying is I don't remember them having, I don't remember it being a thing in the mail, or I don't remember that part of that, how that transpires.
Okay.
So
I agree. I don't believe that there's anything sent. It's just your canceled check. There's no renewal permit or anything. You just use the same piece of paper year after year.
So your permit
No.
hanging up in your house says 2019, it doesn't say 2020?
to be honest with you, whatever you have in front of you, I would go way more off of my memory than off of my memory.
Okay. Okay. And we are all very well aware that you may not get a renewal in the mail or a notice that you're coming up for renewal in the mail. That is not,
Right.
Some people get them. It's a courtesy. It's not required on the part of staff. So we understand, maybe you expected it, but that is not that isn't
No, I
something
don't, which is
required.
why I always as you see, I'm 30 days ahead. I try really hard to make sure that I'm on top of everything.
Okay. So to that end, when you received a letter on May 19th telling you you were in violation,
We got a knock, actually.
okay, and is there not a letter telling you to cease all operations?
So the postings all came down immediately. When I say came down, it's a snooze. It's not you don't remove your listing, you snooze your listing, and you have to continuously snooze your listing, right?
I completely understand that.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, my question for you is, on May 19th, you got a knock on the door telling you to cease all operations.
Yep.
And yet, there were still 3 documented stays after that knock on the door.
So, and like I said with David, when I was emailing with him back and forth, my first thought was, oh, this is a clerical error, no big deal. Let me just go ahead and reach out and take care of it. And again, and I understand, I'm not placing blame on anything. Days and days and days, and then turned into weeks kind of, happened. So this email change, which you might think only takes 3 days to kind of have this exchange, then draws out to 5 weeks or 6 weeks. And that's been my case even for this hearing with Miss Debbie. It's just not as timely as you would think, or expedited as you would think. So I could not afford to hope and pray that I don't know if it was the Postal Service or somebody in your mailroom or somebody else that didn't physically do this, and I'm 6 months later and it's still not rectified. No, I have very little faith in other people kind of handling this process to ultimately not be able to compensate me for my loss of income. So yes, I absolutely had 3 documented stays after the fact. I'm not disputing any of it. I'm just telling you my reason why. I can't. I can't. I couldn't. I still can't.
Well, that puts us in a tough spot if indeed we, we're put in a position here where we're deciding whether or not to give you relief. And
I totally understand. Like I said, I'm trying to be as forthfront and as apparent and transparent as possible. I have all of my stuff that says, why would I have a notarized piece of paper from the time period and then hold on to it? Even coming to these, to this forum is not an easy thing to do from I don't have a corporation that's handling all these things. It's just me. So all of those things kind of put you in a way of why would I put myself in the position? Why would I have documents that are within the time frame? Why would I then come through all this stuff if it wasn't factual?
Give the rest of the board a few minutes to look at your documentation there.
Elizabeth, what is your relation to Austin Toddy?
He is my husband's second cousin. He's also the.
I'm sorry, say again?
He's my husband's cousin. He's also the gentleman who works for one of the like land developers that builds around us, and so we have easy access to his staff.
Okay. Thank you. Actually, I have another question. You said that you were in communication with members of this office by email. Normally, we've received communication, like printouts from those email communications in other packets, and I don't see that here.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen it.
Is that something that?
I don't think those emails are part of the packet. I don't know that at the time it was deemed important, but they could be available. I can tell you, though, that I was the person behind the emails, and what we tried to do from our standpoint, every letter that enters into the building is documented, and there's a log kept, and I went back and reviewed the log more than once to try and find some sort of entry of where that check entered the building or was at least logged. I could not find that, and therefore we couldn't at our end make any kind of a determination.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any additional questions for the appellant?
Yes, I had a question about, here in our breakdown, it says that notice of violation was sent on May 19th, and then there were 3 documented stays in the month of June. Can you tell us a little bit about, what steps you took after receiving the notice of violation, if any?
Yeah, so we snoozed the whole listing, so we were not accepting any future, like any additional stays. To be honest with you, I didn't know how to go about well, I shouldn't say go about, because that's not the right term. I had to do a calculation and say, how much money is these stays going to take care of from a financial standpoint, and what would that source of income or lack of income then kind of declare for this house and my family and kind of our ability to move forward. And so we snoozed it. We've accepted no future guests, but we did honor the people that we gave our word to that they could stay at the home, and we honored those requests or those stays. So those were to be the documented stays that I said that I had to make that calculation of saying, how quickly is this going to be cleared up, and what financial compensation would I be able to obtain if I just mute everything? And I left the existing guests that were on there, I left on there.
So we have 3 documented stays. Is that how many stays occurred after the notice of violation was sent?
My home's only available on the weekends when I'm not working, so there's only, however many weekends there are, that would be the potential for it. And so you're saying 3 out of the 4, I would say that's probably correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any additional questions for the appellant? If not, I'm going to close the public hearing. Thank you so much for your time and for the information. We're going to close the hearing while we discuss amongst ourselves how to dispose of the case.
I think this is a tough spot because I believe, I am of the opinion that I'm believing the paperwork that she has given to us. However, the 3 stays after the notice are hard for me to reconcile. She has said she did them for a financial reason, which I understand that, but she wasn't supposed to do it. And she chose to do it anyways. So it's hard for me because I think that if those stays had not occurred, I wouldn't have penalized her at all. Because the paperwork that was provided carried weight with me. But now that those 3 stays are there, I feel like it's a tough situation. I think there has to be some type of penalty for that.
Just a point of clarity, though, once the notice of violation was sent, that's when the communication with the office started, correct? Because we don't have that documentation, so I can't be sure.
We don't have that documentation with us.
Sure. I'm going to reopen the public hearing so that we can have some discussion about the emails that were exchanged between the appellant and Metro.
So I sent my first email to him and to John was on June 9th. And it says, it's my understanding that you didn't receive it. Here's copies of the documents that I sent you. I said I don't have any proof that they were delivered, but I do have proof that this is what I sent. He responded back on the 24th, nope, 22nd. So again, 13 days later, I get the response back from him that said it. And again, I'm not trying to make excuses, but this is this was how it was kind of transpiring in my world for, if this was going to continue out, how long could I not have a source of income for? So it took 13 days for him to send back with me to say, I'm going to go ahead and look, or I've looked, and I believe him. I'm sure he looked through all of the things countless times.
Ms. Toddy, I'm going to just interrupt you. I just want the dates and fact. Thank you.
Yes.
So I get the point that you didn't get a response for 3 weeks, but from looking at the calendar, it looks like you didn't reach out for 3 weeks either.
That was going to be
Yeah,
my.
May 19th was the notice of
Yeah.
violation. June 9th, you started your communication.
No, ma'am. I can tell you when I got the actual notification right now, and it was not May 19th. I can promise you that. I mean, it may have been mailed, or the letter may be dated May 19th, but it was not delivered May 19th.
Did you not say you had a knock on the door?
That was the guy, it was John, was the guy that came to the door. I'm talking about the letter that you have dated for May 19th, correct?
Okay, because, okay. I
He didn't
asked
come
you.
to the door.
Okay, let me talk first, then you can talk, and then we'll get it all figured out. So we have a notice of violation sent by Property Standards on May 19th. Then when I asked you about that letter, you said, I got a knock on the door.
What?
So are you saying you
I don't
did
even know.
not get a letter of violation? You got
We
an
for sure got a knock
appearance
on the
in
door.
person?
We for sure got a knock on the door. I couldn't tell you anything about a letter. I don't have a copy of a letter to even produce to you. I'm believing that you have it because it's in your packet, but no, we got a physical knock on the door by a man named John who came to our door and said, hey, your stuff is expired. It was like a little red piece of paper stuck to our front door as I was home, so.
Yeah, so that's a stop work notice, and it was by John Feltz, yeah?
Yeah.
And
Whatever that date is, that's the date that I got notified.
the date I have for John Feltz is May 19th. So it may be that the notice wasn't a letter, but the notice was his appearance on your front door with stuff. Okay, so again, that's May 19th. And we don't need to do one-upmanship here, but if you're complaining that you sent notice on June 9th and you didn't hear back from the 22nd, John Feltz appeared at your door on May 19th, and you didn't respond until May 9th.
So David will tell you, my husband was the first person to reach out to him. I don't have his email, so that we'd have to get from David, because my husband was the first person to reach out to him, and it would be on his email thread.
I think that there's a point of clarity here, though, because it does say that notice of violation was sent, not someone knocked on the front door.
Okay.
Right? And so I think there has to be a little grace there, but
couldn't notice a violation be a knock on the door and a stop work order?
The notice of violation is always sent in letter form initially, which is what this May 19th indicates.
Okay.
However, I'm efforting to get the date of the stop work order posting. I apologize, my computer has crashed twice since I've been
Okay.
here.
Okay. Well, I think a lot of, there's a little bit of splitting hairs here about dates. I think, and shall we close the public hearing? Yeah, okay. Public hearing is closed, so we're going to discuss it again amongst ourselves, ma'am, so you can close your microphone. So I think I'm in agreement with Whitney. I think it would be very easy to say, my goodness, this was obvious what happened, this check got lost in the mail. There's, a photocopy of the front of the check. There is a notarized, although notarized by a family member, which I think is not ideal, but there is a notarized copy of the application. It is the dates after the notice of violation, and it is the, I had to, and I'll do it again, kind of position that we're put in that makes it very difficult to be overly anxious to say, oh, let's just forget the whole thing. So I'm curious what your thoughts are.
I'm going to say I'm struggling with the way that some of the classification around this, just because I think that it shows if the emails, good Lord, if the emails did indeed start or the knock on the door happened June whatever. And then the communications started, whatever, around the same time. We're showing here on the match property listing that the listing was removed June 11th and June 12th, but then reposted the 24th, which at that point, there was, that was the first communication that occurred back from Metro.
Right.
So I think that there's something that we need to, that is, and there's an element there that we all need to be aware of. I also, from the appeal file date, there doesn't appear to be any other stays.
True.
And the listing was then again removed August 11th and 12th.
Yep.
So just from the date component, and I'll be completely just blunt with everyone.
Yeah.
The way that some of the communication happens within Metro, just to even us as board members, is a little aggravating. And so I think it is, that there's some clarity that we need to be keeping in mind here, just in terms of this case. It's a hard one, though, I agree.
Yeah, so this is definitely a tough case. I'm a little bit concerned. This initial notice of violation reads very clearly, this property is operating on expired short-term rental permit. Please remove the ads from Airbnb and VRBO. Again, from May, and then we didn't see those ads removed until August 11th and 12th. That's concerning. The stays after the notice are concerning. It's concerning that we went all the way to the stop work order level with this one. That's certainly an escalation on Metro's end as far as I know. I don't think that we typically have to go as far as posting a stop work on following a notice of violation. It sounds like there's maybe some unfortunate circumstances here, but I'm not seeing a ton of effort on the appellant's part to correct the violation. So I'll listen, and if staff has something to add.
Yes, the procedure is, pardon me, the remedial time period is spelled out in the notice of violation that is sent. As we approach that date, if the advertisements have not been removed and it appears as though the operation continues, then we have been advised by Metro Legal that we post a stop work order on the property prior to the end of the remedial period before a warrant is requested.
Thank you for that information. So I guess in this case, that would have meant that the stop work went up before June 19th. I'm struggling a little bit here because it's paperwork that was sent in that did not make it in, and then it's a notice of violation that was sent that did not apparently make it to the appellant. So it's hard for me to see that many postal errors in one case. Personally, I'm not quite clear on how that would happen. So again, I'm open to listening to further discussion, but I'm going to have a tough time with this one.
I do think if you put yourself in the appellant's shoes, and I think if this is, your only Airbnb you're operating and, you're relatively new at it, this is the second renewal, and you've sent the thing in, which I think is, we can trust that documentation, or we have every reason to trust that documentation, and then you get these notices of violation, even though to me, on its face, it says that everything has to stop, your ads have to come down, you cannot operate. One might think it very reasonable for someone to say, oh, I'm sure this is just an oversight, and I know I sent it in, and I have the copy of it here. So this is a mistake on their end, and I'm sure it'll get cleared up. Not really taking into account how serious that letter is, and then how serious the stop work order is, and how serious all of us are coming here today to talk about it.
If I may,
Yeah.
So it was my understanding that their first notice was the stop work order. So my concern is that their paperwork didn't make it the first time, and then our paperwork to them didn't make it. And to me, that seems very, I guess lightning would strike twice in the same place at some point, but it just seems
I get what you're saying.
Unlikely.
All right. Well, how would all of you like to dispose of this case? Yeah, let's reopen the public hearing in order to allow Ms. Kimmerling to ask a question of the appellant.
We just have the dates of the stays listed as June 2021. Do you know the actual dates of the stays?
Could you reopen your microphones? Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. So I have the weekend of the 4th through the 6th, the 12th through the 14th, and then the 18th, 19th, and 20th.
And that's of July?
Those are June.
June of 2021. Okay, very good, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
And do you recall when you got the knock on the door?
No, ma'am.
Was it before any of your June stays?
Well, I was home the 7th through the, this is 100% a guess, but just based upon kind of my work scenario and because I was there for it, when I would have been there, it would have been probably the week of somewhere between the 7th and maybe the 10th.
And what was the date that you emailed codes?
So I don't know when my husband first emailed him, but my first correspondence to David is the 9th.
Okay.
I believe Sean has another question.
So just to clarify, you did not receive the paper mailed notice of violation?
To the best of my knowledge, the answer to that is no. And I'll answer your question about lightning strike twice. It could just be the fact that I have a crappy mail carrier. Like the common denominator is the same postal service people are working at the same, at the same location. So I can't tell you anything more than that part of it. And I may have, I do not have a physical copy, and I'm pretty OCD about keeping my documentation, so, but I'm not.
It looks
I'm
like
not
this would have
perfect.
been sent to the Mount Juliet home.
Correct. That's our mailing address for all correspondence for that stuff.
Okay.
And if I can actually backtrack as I'm looking at our documentation, you had mentioned early on in your remarks that you weren't alerted to the fact that your permit was about to expire. But we have a letter that was sent to you alerting you that your application was, coming up. It was mailed out on 10/9/2020 and told you that you had until 12/18 to renew and that you wouldn't receive anything but your canceled check as a receipt.
Oh, God.
Huh? Didn't get that one either?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it could be what prompted me to send in the money in end of the month as opposed to all the way till December when it was expired. I'm not trying to pretend like I remember every minute of like how this whole thing kind of came about. All I'm trying to do is put the pieces of my documentation in chronological order.
Okay. What I just wanted to point out was this one was mailed to 731 28th Avenue, but it seems that the other violation was mailed to Mount Juliet, or the notice of violation was mailed to Mount Juliet.
I just saw that the property owner listed on the notice of violation was that address. I don't know for a fact
Okay.
which address it was mailed to, the Airbnb or the Mount Juliet home.
Okay. Alrighty.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to make sure I've got the timetable just completely locked down. Okay, so we've got in our records, May 19th notice of violation that you don't recall getting.
Okay.
Okay, and so then on June 4th through the 6th, you
Yes, ma'am.
had a stay.
Yes, ma'am.
June, somewhere between the 7th and the 10th, I presume the 7th through the 9th, really, is when you think you may have gotten the knock on the door. June 9th, you sent the email to Metro Code saying, hey, is this an error, essentially, okay? So then, when did you get your first response email from Metro? If you can remind me of that date.
The 20th, I want to say it's the 23rd, but it was, hang on, I can pull it up.
22nd or 23rd, you just told us.
22nd.
Okay. So you send the email on the 9th. You have another stay the 12th through the 14th, another stay the 18th through the 20th, and again on 6/22, that's when you get your first response from codes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's what I needed to know. Thank you.
I think Metro has something to share.
The notice of violation was sent to the Mount Juliet.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, anything further for the appellant? Shall we close the public hearing? Okay, let's do that. Public hearing is now closed, and let's decide how we're going to handle this. I think Whitney's exploration of those dates helps me feel a little more comfortable with the violations having happened after the stop work order. I personally would find it very frightening to have a red sticker put on my door that said stop work. But I'm trying to see where the appellant is coming from, feeling quite comfortable in her documentation that she sent these things in, and yeah, she didn't get a response and all that. But she felt like this was going to get cleared up, and the stays were in that bookended period between hearing from, getting the red stop work order on the door and the response from codes.
Right.
So even though I thought it was pretty egregious on first blush, now considering it with this time frame in mind, really there haven't been any stays since that first response back via email from Metro. So,
Right. I think what I'm struggling with, though, if I may jump in,
Yeah, please.
is, so to me, when there is an open question as to whether or not you have authority to continue doing the permitted activity, you stop pending the answer to your question, and you don't continue to act as if there isn't an open question. So that's what becomes a bit troublesome for me. I don't think this is an instance of, someone who has the worst of intentions and is just going to disregard with impunity, in order from a local legal authority or regulatory authority. But I do think that it's significant. It's significant to my mind that there was a stop work order, there was an email asking for clarification, and then there were still 2 bookings while waiting for an answer.
Sure.
It makes it appear as if the answer doesn't matter. We've already decided for ourselves that this is an invalidly issued order, and we're just going to continue doing what we're doing with the expectation that they'll tell us, "Oh, you're fine. It was our mistake."
Yeah.
But if she had received no communication up until the stop work order, according to her,
Why?
that someone shows up on my door and puts a red sticker on my door, I would be scared shitless.
Right.
We don't want to have to beep the.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but
I
at the
meant about the curse word.
well, sorry, beep.
Quite all
sorry.
right. Quite all right.
But so much for behavior.
My goodness.
I mean, the reality is that if that's put on the door, and in this case, Ms. Toddy knows, or believes, or has sent in this documentation, I would probably be of the same mindset. Like, this is absolutely a clerical error if I'm keeping good notes and good records.
Yeah.
So,
Whitney, you look like you have something to share.
I can 100% see both sides of the coin.
Sure.
I see the points that you make. I see the points that Mr. Bond makes. I 100% see both sides of the coin. In my mind, I would have stopped. Again, I would have heeded the warning of a red sticker on my door. I probably would have done something other than just send an email and wait for the response. If my income depended upon it, my mortgage depended upon it, I would have called, I would have come down to codes, I would have done something further to get some clarity, knowing that I had upcoming stays if I wanted to keep those stays. Again, if those stays hadn't happened and we had the documentation that we had, this would have been a no-brainer to me. But I think that there is something that needs to be done in relation to the stays that occurred after May.
Okay, so to take all of that into consideration, how would we feel about a 6-month period running from June 1st, which would put December 1st as the date, as the new eligibility date to apply for a new permit?
I think that's high.
You think it's high? Okay.
Okay.
I agree. I think it's too high.
I would counter and just say 3 months,
Okay.
starting with that. So,
Okay.
and it would essentially put us in September 1st, which is
Okay.
literally in 6 days. Because looking at this, we have, or even just starting July 1st. So maybe it is July, August, September, and starts October 1st.
Yeah.
Because we have stays in June, but the list, there's no stays documented for July or August.
Right.
And that's essentially a 1-month penalty beyond this.
I think the behavior that we are concerned about occurred in June. I think it has to start July 1. I'm not comfortable with it starting June 1.
Okay.
So that would allow for the permit to be pursued again starting October 1st of 2021?
That's fine with me.
So that's 3 months starting July 1.
Correct.
Okay, so I make a motion that we grant some relief to the tune of a 3-month waiting period, date starting July 1st, permit accessibility beginning October 1st. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, can I have a show of hands? Who supports the motion? Very good. Okay, the ayes have it. And Dr. Toddy, thank you so much for your time today. You too.
You too.
And that concludes today's hearing of the short-term rental appeal board.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.